Have you ever played a game where every choice feels like it matters? Where you can roam the world, delve into danger, or wander off the beaten path? Welcome back to Faith and Board Games. I'm Tyler Collum. Arydia, The Paths We Dare Tread is a cooperative adventure-style board game where you're going to get to create your own characters, explore an ever-changing landscape, as well as partake in different battles and scenarios. The story? Welcome to Arydia. Arydia is an open-world, campaign-based, cooperative fantasy role-playing game for 1 to 4 players. You take on the role of exiles trying to return home. Create a character, then journey through the land of Arydia, exploring a fantasy world alive with characters, secrets, monsters, and magic. How do you go about exploring this world of Arydia? Let's head to the rules rundown to find out. Come on! Before you get started in the main game of Arydia, you must first create your own character. You're going to do this by selecting one of the 6 bodies, which corresponds to the different paths that you can choose, as well as one of these little noggins up here, which will represent the different races that you can be in Arydia. Once you've selected your character mini, you will then take the path that corresponds with the body type that you chose, which will include the main boards that will represent your character's abilities, as well as their clothing and armor and that sort of thing, as well as their tuck box here, which will have different player cards as well as hold any other items that you'll gain throughout the game, and their path box over here, which you will get into at specific points in the game to upgrade their class specific armor. After you get your character mini put together, figure out your path that you're going to play, you can grab the type of character that you are, the race picture that you have there. You get to choose a name, title, and then you just take your race and then your path title there. You'll take any starting abilities, your class ability, take the starting equipment, and then your class tokens that you have, as well as some starting statistics. All of these things will be upgraded as the game goes along, as you gain experience points here for doing various things like completing missions, taking out monsters. You'll be able to upgrade levels, and then you'll be able to get more abilities here that will help you in dice rolls and checks during the game. You'll be able to upgrade your different stats down here. You'll find new equipment to be able to fill this in and get different items there. Over here, these are your ability trees. As you level up, you can choose to learn a new ability. And you'll notice these arrows. In order to get to these other abilities, you must first learn the ability before it. Once you learn this, you can then move forward along the path and really make the character your own based on the decisions you make through the game. At the beginning of the game, you're going to be directed to go to the exile camp by doing one of the most satisfying actions in board gaming by popping open these hexes. Then you're going to turn it over, and then you're going to be met with some information, such as a map tile that you need to pull or a POI you can draw from the deck. Now, before we zoom in to the main exploration, when you need to travel on the main map here, you'll place your party token onto the map, and then you just choose a direction in one of the flat sides of the hex. In order to successfully travel between locations, you'll place your party token in between the 2 hexes, and then you're going to note the symbol that is on the side of the hex that you are leaving. Then you will flip over a travel card. If the symbol is present at the top of the card, you will be able to successfully pass through and explore the next location. Otherwise, if it is on the bottom, normally there will be a negative effect. Sometimes other effects will happen, but most of the time you will have to either spend an skill point or flip over one of these different travel tokens. If these travel tokens are flipped over, then you cannot explore new areas and you'll have to go rest at a nearby town to get them back up to their colored side in order to explore new locations. However, once you get to a location, then you are ready to explore. You then grab the map tile and zoom in to see what there is to see. Once you zoom in and are ready to explore, you will place your figures near wherever the hex marker is, which is where the entrance to the map space. And then there's going to be several things to note on a map. First of all, there might be event spaces where you can place an event marker to show that you need to check that out. You will not be able to explore further on a map until all event or point of interest spaces have been explored. So you can just move your character over there and find and check out the event by drawing the appropriate card and following the actions. Other spaces include NPCs, where same concept. You can slide over to the NPC, look in the appropriate card stack, and draw out its card. NPC cards are one of the main points of interaction in the game, where one player will need to read as the PC. You can choose to follow the role-playing actions that they give to you, or you can just read the card straight and give your fellow players their options on the card. However, you are encouraged to do the role-playing, as if you do the role-playing and lead your characters to ask the right questions to get the right content, then you can earn role-playing points, which are denoted by these blue book symbols, which will give you points that you can spend in order to boost rolls when you need to during the game. Now, once all points of interest or event cards have been explored on a given map, you are free to explore further if there are any exploration spaces available. You can do this by moving your characters near that space and then finding the appropriate map tile and adding it to the board. Some tiles will just have connection points like this, whereas other map pieces might be placed directly over another map tile to simulate either going into a building or going into a cave or something to that effect. Now, you'll notice on this map there is a foe icon. Whenever you see this, a battle commences. Once a battle commences, you'll need to find the proper foe and grab it from its tuck box, as well as the foe cards, threat deck, threat/combo track, the battle dice, as well as the different cubes necessary that you'll need for the battle. Now, the battle structure is going to be the foe will go first, followed by the player, and then back and forth. On the foe's turn, they will need to draw from the threat deck to see what they will do. Sometimes it will be a card like this. They'll just tell you to increase the threat by the number, and the foe does nothing. Maybe they would draw a card like this that says that if there is a mob card available, then that foe would activate. To activate, you would check how much the threat level is at. It is at a 1. You would then cross-check that with its card here. You'll see at 1 threat, it will target a foe that is farthest away, move 6, and whack. Down here you will see that a whack means that it will roll the red combat dice, and on a hit, and it will hit 1 time at a specified location on the body. For instance, if this was rolled, you'll see how this corresponds with the body section on the character sheet. The black corner here says that the dummy would whack at the right shoulder. There's no defense, so the player would suffer 1 damage for that attack. If, however, the die had rolled on this face, it would hit the armor. You could then check the armor, see that it has 1 shield, so you would not take any damage. You would, however, put orange piece on here to show that this piece of clothing has taken a hit. This anvil says that this clothing can take 2 hits before it no longer protects the player from damage. So that is some wear and tear that will go on the different clothing pieces. Once the foe has completed its action, it will use the threat. So in this case, 1 threat moves 1 down. If the threat had been at a 2, you'll notice there is no 2 threat, so it would just go to the highest threat available, in this case 1, and it would then just use 1 threat on the track. So that's how the foe's turn will play. Sometimes they might draw a card that says all foes go, which is no bueno. On the player's turn, they're going to get 3 actions, 2 main actions, and 1 minor action. The minor action can be placed at the feet in order to move up to 3 spaces, as well as boost the combo, which is used to activate some of their special abilities. The major actions can also be used to move for the same amount, but these can be used to activate their weapons as well as special abilities over here. You'll also notice some abilities will allow the minor action to be used as well, as denoted by that right there. Most of the time you will be using the move action in order to get close to your opponent, then using major actions to use your weapon of choice. Now in this case, you'll roll the dice. I might roll, in this case, a 9, but then you're going to look here and notice the strength symbol. Since I have 1 strength over here, I technically get a roll of 10. Still not quite enough to get up to that 12, so I'm just going to get the 2+, which means, since this is white, the attack will only be in the white space on the sword over here. If I had rolled a 12 or more, then I could have hit 2 times from the practice sword. Now you'll notice this arrow here. When I attack, this arrow means that the sword hits the foe from left to right. So I can start anywhere on the foe card, starting from the left side, working my way to the right. You'll also notice these special spaces, such as these targets or these blue spaces, which would have an armor token, which would require you to hit that space once and then hit it again in order to actually get damage put on to the dummy. You'll notice these orange spaces as well. These are going to be critical hits, where if I was able to hit through those spaces, I would not only hit in the space that I hit, there would also be an extra hit space following that arrow in order to try to combo and get more hits on the foe. If you hit these target spaces, foes have little abilities that will fire off anytime those are hit, such as adding threat or hitting for an extra attack. Now that is the basics of combat. There are also some line of sight rules to follow, some rough terrain for movement, but that is the general idea of combat. You're just going to go back and forth until either the foe is completely covered, at which case you'll get some experience and some kai, maybe some loot as well, or you have been knocked down. The players will lose the fight if all characters are knocked out at once. If you are knocked out one time, you can revive once during the battle by placing an orange piece on your character slot, standing back up, and going back to 1 health. Next time you get knocked over, then you are out for the rest of the battle. Now that is a very high-level overview of Arydia, the paths we dare tread, the different mechanisms that you can expect to find throughout the game without spoiling too much here. Now we're going to head up to the good, the bad, and the biblical. Now that you have a decent idea of how to play, let's get into the good, the bad, and the biblical. This is a segment where I talk about things I enjoyed about the game, things I didn't enjoy so much, as well as a parent's guide of sorts, where I'll talk about things that wouldn't be considered family friendly or Christ glorifying. We'll start with the components. I love the artwork in this game, the washed out kind of a whimsical look that they put. It gives me that same kind of a feeling that Breath of the Wild does, where you have this wide open world that's just ripe to explore, but it's not this dark, heavy, foreboding world that you're going into. It's real light, real airy, real welcoming is how I would describe the world of Arydia. And then the components are all done really well, especially the metal tote kai that comes in the game. Their currency have a really nice weight to them. All the cardboard is a really good thickness that's going to hold up to a lot of plays. Storage units are done really well. There's a little bit of lid lift to the box with the storage, but not too much. The card filing systems come together quite nicely. And the character boards, how those slide in and out together, that's all done really well. I really like the character minis. The paint job that they have is really well done. The heads that you're able to slide in and out of the figures, those work really well. They snap in there and they're not real wobbly. They're not going to just fall out, so that was really great. I really have no complaints about the components. Components, though, aren't everything. You can have great components, but not a great game. So let's talk about the gameplay. Starting with what you have to do first in the game, and that is your character creation. That is a really fun process where you have a really good swath of choices where you can have several different body styles that you can choose. You can, especially if you get that expansion where you have the small bodies, you can go with a dwarf looking character or a full size. And then you have so many different races. They have both genders for each race, which I love that. And then you go from the different body styles to the different paths that you can choose. You're going to be upgrading your character, so their abilities are going to grow. You've got little ability trees where you're going to be upgrading your different combat abilities, or even abilities that you can use outside of combat in some situations. You've got your armor that you're going to be upgrading, weapons. There's just so much that you can upgrade and build with your character. So that is just one of the most enjoyable aspects of this game, is getting to design your character that's going to have its own backstory that you're going to bring into the game and just really feel like your character is there doing the actions. Now, there are a lot of mechanisms going on in this game, but the main thing I would say that this game is it is a game of exploration. And this is done in two different ways. You have the high-level overview of moving around the map tiles, going from town to town or path to path. But then you have the zoom in, where once you get to a location that you think is interesting or looks like a place or is a place that you've been led to via one of the different story plots, you get to zoom in with these painted pieces. There's just amazing art prints that you get to put down on the table and explore what you're actually going over on the map. I just love that concept of zooming in and seeing what there is to see. What is that on the map? Is that a house? Is that a castle? What is that? What is that flying around up here? There's so many things that you get to explore and go find. The designers did such a great job, and this is a theme that I will carry over to so many aspects of this game, is they made it smooth. The moving from the overlay to the actual map sheets, it's quick. It's just look through the filing system, grab that number, plop it down, flip it, read a little excerpt, flip it over, put your characters down where they tell you to, and then you just, oh, that's a point of interest. Oh, there's an NPC over there. Oh, wait a second, looks like there might be some monsters coming out. Everything is labeled so well. And then one of the most satisfying parts of the game is when you get to start exploring further through the map, where you have, oh man, it looks like there's a pathway over here. What's down there? Grab another map, fill it in. Wait a second, are those stairs? Got to go down here. Man, now we're in a cave. Now we're underneath in some cellar or something. What's going on around the corner? Do we need to hide real quick? Man, there's just so many things that could go down on the different map tiles. But these are beats that are going so quickly because it's just, oh, there's a number. Grab that card real quick, read it off, see what's going on. All right, there's the decision. Grab the next one, move around the corner. Whatever it is that's going down, it's very quick, very smooth, very well done. With making the exploration work. And then to move on that map, the movement, you have to draw cards in order to do the travel, which seemed like it could get really tedious, but they did a great job of making it just up, quick glance, do the symbols match. They do great. Let's move. Oh, they don't. We got to flip a token. Oh, we're not able to explore anymore because of the tokens. Let's just get back to a town real quick and get those flipped over. There's really not a consequence for traveling outside of maybe some tokens get flipped over and you won't be able to explore anything new. For the most part, that travel is just so quick, not much to think about, which is nice for that kind of a system. But man, as we'll get to in a second, even just in that system, they're able to add just a little bit of something to even make something so mundane as moving across a map interesting in some ways. Going back to the different interactions that you can have on the exploration, I really enjoy meeting NPCs, even seeing points of interest or events that happen. The choices that you're given that you can check out is really fun, but specifically the NPCs. They made this game a role-playing light game where you don't have to partake in any role-playing elements in the game, but you're strongly encouraged to do so. Every NPC is given a name. You got the nice picture there so you know who you're looking at, and then you're given their description as well as a quirk that they might have. Like maybe your guy talks really gruff, or maybe you have somebody that's rubbing their hands, or you have a really snot-nosed kid, or something like that. There's so many quirks that these characters might have that, again, you don't have to partake in. You can just read through, offer up choices, keep moving on through the story. But it does really add something to the game if you stop and kind of have fun with your partner. It just depends on the group that you're in. So all of this exploration that you're doing is pushing you towards different story plots. And there are so many different types of story plots. Some might be mystery, some might be investigation style, just let's go grab something. Maybe you need to like fetch quest type of things, or maybe you need to go check on somebody, have a big fight that you're going to. So many different types of story plots going on in the game, and each one of them we have found to be very engaging. Story plots that, though they're small, very contained stories, they're engaging enough to make you want to finish them, to see how does this get resolved. What's really neat is some of them you'll finish the main quest, but maybe somebody escapes. Maybe a certain creature that you dealt with in one story beat is going to show up somewhere else. And I just love that. There's not too many games where actions that you take over here show themselves elsewhere. Robinson Crusoe is the only other game really that I played where if you do one aspect of the game, an event happens and then it shows up somewhere else and you'll get the resolution to that. I really enjoy that. With those story beats, you're going to have a lot of main ones, but you also have at the different towns or villages, you're going to get the opportunity to grab jobs that are going to be like your side quests in the game, where you can bolster up your money or get extra experience to be able to go tackle harder areas in the game. And we found these to range from to really fun and very engaging. So that was a fun extra bit to the game. And then the other main aspect of the game is going to be the combat system, which again, smooth is the key word here. The systems work very well. I really enjoy that you just have 3 actions that you can take on each of your turns, and it's very clear where you can take those. It doesn't take very long to get in the swing of the combat. It's a little tricky at first, but once you get it, you get it. And you're going to be able to roll through these combats pretty well. And that's not to say the combats are easy. I'm just saying this system itself really smooths out once you get through that first 1 or 2 battles. In the combat system, you have your main weapons, some movements that you can do, and then you have your skills that you're able to use. You've got to figure out how those skills are going to work for you, as well as engage your teammates. I love any sort of grid system. It just feels so much more strategic or tactical, be able to maneuver around the board. And then they did such a good job on each of the map tiles. You know where it's very easy to tell what's hard terrain. Line of sight is very easy to understand in this game. Anywhere where they could simplify things to make it easier for the player to understand and just make gameplay fun, engaging, and smooth, it seems like these designers did that in pretty much every aspect of the game. Now, the save system in this game works really well. My wife and I have had to do that a couple times now. I love the player boards, how they just stack together. Everything just gets to stay on top of there. They have a really nice system to know where your cubes are that you left, as sometimes you got to place cubes on different items. And then you just slide those back into your tuck box. You take all of your other items, your metal coins or any cubes and stuff, they go right into your smaller tuck box. All the different cards that you've gathered, whether it be the key cards or just any different items that you've gathered, can just slide right into your box, and then you just put it away and pull it back out. We found that to be very easy to pick back up where we left off. And this game felt like riding a bike, just the way the systems work. Once you get some hours in, a couple of play sessions, this system is just very smooth, like I've said a few times now. So that's really the name of this game. Save system works well, and it's just a really great system to jump back into. Hey, thanks for watching this video here on Faith and Board Games. If you're enjoying the content that you are seeing, feel free to hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. It's a free way for you to show support for the channel, and it just helps me be able to produce more of this content for you. Thanks once again for watching here on Faith and Board Games. Let's get back to the video. Now, there is a lot to like about this game. That is not to say it is perfect. We're going to get into the bad section. And like I said, this is a game that's all about exploration. There are so many different plots and story points that you're going to get into, and that can be one of the negatives. There are going to be almost drowning in key cards at some points if you are not actively just locking in and being like, oh, I got this key, I'm going to knock it out. Though sometimes what we found, there are some key cards that you're going to get that you just can't get to right away. You are going to have to explore it even further out into the world, and sometimes you're just flying blind with them. You have an idea, which they do have a character that you can go to give you direction. We haven't used them. We enjoy looking ourselves and trying to figure these things out, so we haven't dealt with him. We have, honestly, it seems like we have probably 15 or 20 maybe of these key cards, and we have maybe 4 to 5 of them where it's like, you know what, I think we know exactly where we can go. There's one that for sure we know, and then some that's like, I think this is where we need to go, and then the rest, it's just wide open, not exactly sure where we're supposed to go with those. And so you just got to keep exploring, probably get even more key cards. That can feel overwhelming at times, especially when you have key cards, then you have job cards on top of that. You're going to have cards strewn all over the place. Like I mentioned, each character has their own story beats that they're going through as well. So there's a lot to look at and be distracted by even in this game. So that's something to look out for. Then the other thing, the storage units for this game were done so well. Everything, all the systems, like I said, were so smooth. There's one system though that was like, man, I'm not sure that you could, how to make it better or really perfect. I get what they're going for, but it's the item system at the town. So each town you go to, when you visit it the first time, you're supposed to draw a couple of random items based on what it shows you and place those in the town for purchase. And those are supposed to stay with that town after the first time you visit it. But they're on cards that you have, and they have to go in the tuck boxes. So if you don't buy those items, or if you buy and replace one of your items there, now you have to slide that card in with the 2 items in the tuck box to show that those are with them. But then that just gets so finicky trying to fish those back out of the card box without, dumping every card out to get to them. So that part of the game was a little finicky. Now, that's the good and the bad. Now for the biblical. Now, in this game, you're in this fantasy realm. It's got a lot of things that you would expect to see in an open world fantasy where you have battle systems. There's going to be magic in this game. There's a murder at one point that you'll deal with. There's obviously killing. There's an undead plot point where you have some undead monsters walking around via some sort of magic spell is what it's being alluded to. So there is that going on. There's going to be some saloons or drinking. And there's also a little later in the game, non-gendered character. So they brought a little bit of that LGBTQ stuff into the game. You could tell because it was clearly a one person that was being referred to as like they, them. And like every character card that we'd come across was like, this is a guy, this is a girl. And then this one didn't have that. So it was like, huh, interesting. And then they had that written in there. So you will come across that in this game as well. So those are just some things to be aware of if you're looking to get Arydia, the paths we dare tread. So that's the good, the bad, and the biblical. Now we're going to jump into a quick faith lens moment before we get into my final thoughts and rating of the game. Welcome to the Faith Lens. This is a segment where I take a theme or mechanic from a board game and derive a spiritual application from it for our benefit and, more importantly, for God's glory. One of the strongest themes you're going to feel in Arydia is that freedom to choose. You're not going to be railroaded down one path, forced to finish a storyline, forced to help. You get to choose. Are you going to explore? Are you going to fight? Are you going to help? Or are you just going to walk away from a situation? And that idea of choice isn't just a game mechanic. It's biblical. From the very beginning, God has given us the choice to choose. He is not demanding obedience from us. He invites us to it. In Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, it says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life. God places that choice into our hands, but He lovingly points us in the direction of life. You'll find that some paths in Arydia lead you to where you need to go, while others lead you towards paths of danger and loss. That almost reminds you too much of life, doesn't it? God gives us free will, not so that we can live selfishly, but so that our love can be genuine. Forced love isn't love at all. Galatians chapter 5, verse 13 says, For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. This verse perfectly captures that tension we live with, where we have that freedom to make selfish decisions, but that freedom we're given has a purpose, and that purpose is to show love to those around us. As believers, the question is not, can I do this, but rather, is this a loving action? 1 Corinthians 10:23 says, All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. Not all things are the best for me. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. In other words, not every available path is a good one. The most meaningful moments come from helping others, whether that's helping your team in combat or helping different NPCs solve problems that they have to deal with. And that is such a powerful picture of the Christian walk. Matthew 22:37 through 39 talks about how we need to love God with all our heart and also love our neighbors like ourselves. And that's what we ought to do. But freedom is real. We get to make that choice. Are we going to love God? Are we going to love others? Because that's the goal. God just wants us to show love, serve others the way we would want to be. So whether you're choosing a path in a game or making decisions in real life, the call is the same. Choose wisely, choose lovingly, and remember to use your freedom to serve others with the love God has already shown us and that we need to reflect towards others. That's going to do it for this week's Faith Lens. Let's jump into my final thoughts and ratings as we wrap up this video. Arydia the Paths We Dare Tread is a fantastic exploration game. I've heard it described as basically a video game in the box, and that's really what it is. With the different upgrading systems, all the different almost load screens that you have as you jump in and out of the map overlay and zoom in into the world. But the biggest thing that draws me to Arydia is going to be the stories that come from the exploration and the amount of surprises that my wife and I have gotten from playing this game together. Every turn that you take in this game feels surprising. I've heard from some sources that if you are really into role-playing games or classic fantasy, that there are a lot of tropes in this that you may have seen before. You might not be as surprised, but my wife and I didn't come in with that. So I love that aspect of the game and just the fun stories that can be told whoever it is that you're playing with, whether it be your spouse or a friend group or whatever, whoever it is. This game offers a really great experience, though not a perfect one, as I've mentioned. But even with some of the negatives that there are in this game, I'm going to be coming in at this game with a 9 out of 10. This game brings pretty much everything I'm looking for in a game with great components, a really great theme that has solid stories with good technical decisions to be made. There's just so many fun mini-game style things to be had in this game that come with exploration. I hesitate to mention some of them just for spoiler reasons for any of you that are looking to get into the game with this second print run coming through, this next Game Found project that they're running. The only thing that really brings it down are the things that we mentioned in the bad section, as well as the story beat a little bit takes a hit on this game as well. It's very easy to forget what it is that you're doing, that you are an exile that's trying to get unexiled. That pops up a little bit, but you really kind of get lost in the exploration and the different other story beats that are really distracting from that. And you also have that feeling of, I'm not sure exactly what the end game is, what you're working towards. There is not a clear end point to the game that I've been able to see from skimming through the rules, to be fair. Just went through the quick start guide, which, oh, I did kind of forget to mention that in the bad. With that quick start guide, it is the getting into the game. It's nice to have that where it walks you step by step through the first part of that story. But that is kind of a slog to get through, as there's a lot of reading. All right, do a couple of actions. A lot more reading, do a couple of actions. And then once you get to the combat, that's almost worse. You almost split apart for a little bit where it's like, hey, if this is your character, here's your combat so you can learn your abilities and your weapon. They give you several maps that are the same with the same bad guy, so you're working through this on your own pace. And then you come back together and you do that battle again now that you understand the combat system. So that getting into the game can be a slog. So if that's something that bothers you, That's how they encourage you to learn the game. I'm sure you could just hop into the rule book and get after it from there. But that's just something to be aware of. And then just some of the themes in this game, like I mentioned, coming across the non-gendered character, that was a little bit of a disappointment. I am 100% on board with what God says in His Word. You're either male or female. You don't need to mess with that. And then also just some of the themes. There are some darker themes to this game that you might come across. There's nothing gory in the game. Like there are some games that you'll play with the fighting games where they have blood splatters around on the board. This is not that. It's a very light theme, even though there is some of that fighting. If that's not something that interests you or you don't want to deal with that kind of stuff, then this won't be for you. If you like a more linear gameplay where you have clear objectives, then this gives a few of those, but it is very much kind of open-ended, just so much to explore. So that might be something that detracts you from it, especially if you're not into fiddliness. There's a lot of cards that you have to grab to pull in order to make the different decisions or move the game along. So that's something to note. It's a massive table hog as well. So these are just some things to be aware of before purchasing the game. But if you love exploration, you love tactile games with lots of pieces, lots of moving parts, with very satisfying decisions to be made, story beats that will show themselves again and be like, oh yes, I remember this character. There is just so many fun things, fun moments to be had in this game. So those are my final thoughts for Arydia, The Paths We Dare Tread. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I'm Tyler Collum. You've been watching Faith and Board Games. Until next time, choose the freedom God has given you to love those around you and stay awesome.